Welcome to the TK Show with the Athletic Bay Area's editor-in-chief, Tim Kawakami.
Welcome to the TK Show. No, this is not Tim Kawakami. He is on some beach somewhere in Maui, probably blocking people on Twitter. This is Marcus Thompson, his favorite employee, and I'm filling in. And who better to talk to than his second favorite employee, Julian McWilliams, our astonishingly good Oakland A's beat writer. What's up, Julian? Where are you right now?
That's a great introduction. I'm impressed by that.
It was hype beast though. It was hype beast. We know you're not the second favorite, but it's all good.
I'm in Colorado right now, and I'm in the mountains, the high altitude.
So are you sucking wind up there? Is fatigue killing you?
Dude, I came here with a headache like I don't know what. It was crazy. Yeah, I am sucking wind, but it's cool. I mean, I probably just have to get in shape. So that's all that means.
So you're in the altitude. I'm in Vegas. It's like 120. And Tim Kawakami is on the beach in Maui. So clearly we're living wrong.
Jealous of him.
Right?
Jealous.
So I got some questions for you in the tradition of the TK Show. I will ask you about your favorite restaurant at the end. So start thinking about that for when we get there. But we got to talk about. Right. Let's start with the team you cover. The team who has taken over the league, 27-7 in their last 34 games. They're suddenly right on the cusp of a playoff berth. I think they're going to catch Seattle by the trade deadline. And shoot, Houston better be looking over their shoulders. So tell me where you stand on this team. Are you buying the hype? Are you expecting a collapse?
It's tough to call. Like, I mean, you look at their schedule. I mean, Seattle has the fourth hardest schedule in baseball coming up, in the second half of the season starting now. Like I think you mentioned it yesterday on Twitter. They got the Angels for 3. And then they have Houston for 3. So, and then mind you, after they play Houston for those 3 games, they play Houston again 10 more times. So, and the A's only have to play them 6 more times. So, that tells you a lot right there. So, in terms of just scheduling, yeah, I'm for sure buying it, But I think a lot of it has to come down to, the bullpen. Is the bullpen tax? Is the bullpen have enough left in the tank? I mean, last night, for instance, Lou Trevino threw 30 pitches. Yuri Familia threw 30 pitches. Then Blake trying to work three games in a row for the first time all season. So it's going to be interesting going down the stretch. But for right now, I'm buying it. But, you're hoping that this team isn't peaking too early. That's the only thing about it. You're hoping that they're not in a time where they're just because there's 50-plus games left. So you hope they're not peaking too early to a point where where they don't have anything left in the tank for September.
So this was a team that people expected to finish in the cellar. Seattle peaked even earlier, right? They were incredible to start the season. But nobody expected anything from the A's. They have the lowest payroll in baseball. I wonder what are they like? You're in the locker room every day. I'm sorry, you're in the clubhouse every day. How are they feeling? Are they like, we told y'all this was going to happen, right? Like we knew we were better than everybody thought? Or are they trying to downplay it as if they haven't done anything yet? What's the vibe in the clubhouse?
Man, I mean, they're a confident bunch, but it's kind of weird because they're just so cool. And I think that's a reflection of their manager too, Bob, because if you ever notice anything with Bob, he never gets too high or too low or anything. He's always just seems to be in the middle. They play a great game, like the game they played against where they came back in the 10th inning the other night, where they were down to their last out against Texas, and Chris Davis came up and hit that homer to put them ahead 6-5. After the game, if you look at Bob's presser, I mean, he's a guy that's not really he's we played well, we did this well. But he's just so cool about it. And I think this team is kind of taking on that. But you could really tell they're kind of getting into it, too. They got these Mark Canha shirts that that says bat flipping season or whatever like that. So they're kind of buying into a little bit of the swag and a little bit of the hype, too. And you can't really blame them for that.
So You were one of the people who were like, I don't know about this team. Are you,
I still don't know.
Star beat writer, are you sold on these A's?
Yeah.
That was very hesitant.
Not yet. There's a lot of baseball left. There's still 50 games left, and you never know. I mean, look, they got what they have the next 17 or 20 games after the series at the Coliseum, and we all know how they play at the Coliseum. They're not as good as the Coliseum as they're on the road. So, those numbers at the Coliseum, particularly the power numbers, are going to have to change as the season progresses because the reality is, like I said, they have 17 games left, so you never know what's going to happen. So I'm not quite sold yet, but I mean, if you ask me if I'm more sold than I was in June or May or the time when they got swept by the Houston Astros in June, I think George Springer was like 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 in that game. Yeah, I'm more sold than I was then. So that's obviously saying something.
So the part that gets me, because I'm a little bit like you, right? I mean, when you've been following the A's, you kind of expect at some point, the payroll will catch up, right? And the talent disparity will play out, right? But then the other part of me is like, they got 50 games. If they go 30-20, that's a 91-win baseball team. They can go 30-20. Like, that's not crazy.
Exactly.
That's not crazy. So it's like, wow, are you serious? They might do this.
And it's not crazy at all considering, like, I mean, just look what they were running out there. I mean, they had Brett Anderson going out there, and that's like, no disrespect to Brett Anderson, but nobody really thought this would be the case where they're in this situation where they're winning these amount of games with Brett Anderson and Edwin Jackson, where nobody really wanted Edwin. So, I mean, it's definitely interesting right now in terms of the way they're playing, but I mean, you gotta give it to them, just what they're putting together, because what they're putting together is pretty remarkable. Considering the talent that they have and considering the fact that people were saying, like, yo, this is a team that might be a year or two away, and they're here now. So, you got to go for it now. And you saw Ken Rosenthal tweet out today that that they're looking for guys that can, they're looking for a left-hander and another bat. A left-hander and another bat in the lineup for them to, to go on and make this pennant run. So, they're doing a lot. So, and that goes against what the A's have done in the past, or at least in the recent past.
So, one of the major reasons you got to have concern about this team is the starting pitching. They do have some pretty lights out arms in the bullpen, but man, at some point they will need somebody to give them 8 strong, right? They will need a complete game out of somebody. Is this something they can get during the deadline? Is there someone on the staff now who can kind of find their stride and come into their own and just eat up innings so Trinan and Trevino aren't burning their arms? Like, is there a salvageable plan to get better starting pitching for September?
That's the thing. I mean, that's what makes it tricky too, is because if you look across the league, right? I mean, aside from like some teams, I mean, a lot of the best pitchers on the market, on the free agent market, are people like Nathan Eovaldi or like Jay Happ, who the Yankees just got. Like, that's the market for pitchers right now. I know the Cubs just went out and got Cole Hamels, but like even he's having just kind of a meh season, as it stands right now. So, I mean, it's gonna they want to get an arm. They've talked about getting an arm, but if they can't get an arm, I think the next best thing that they can get is probably just to stack up on the bullpen, just have some guys that like how the Royals did back in 2015 when they won the World Series, just stack up on the bullpen and just ride those guys as much as you can, and just see what happens. And so far it's kind of worked.
Yeah, with Familia, they basically got a second closer, right? Another guy say, hey, trying to take the night off. Let him cook.
You can even go Trevino with that too. Yep. Like, I mean, it's just like pick your poison. It's like Trevino, Trinan, and Familia, and then if you want to throw Ryan Buchter in there, that's the guy who, remember, they gave up a lot. They're basically giving Ryan Buchter $6 million, because remember they got Brandon Moss along with Ryan Buchter, but the whole reason to get Brandon Moss was the whole reason for getting Ryan Buchter was for the fact of for having a left-hander in the bullpen, but they got Brandon Moss, with that too, and Brandon Moss has been DFA'd since spring training, but they're paying Brandon Moss $6.5 million or whatever have you, or I think they might be paying part of that just to have Buchter. So I mean that tells you a lot right there too.
We're going to take a quick break to talk about our friends over at Indochino. As my wife tells me all the time, every guy looks better in a suit. Indochino is the world's largest made-to-measure menswear company and has been featured in major publications, including GQ and Forbes. They make suits and shirts made to your exact measurements for a great fit. So, whether you're a normal height suit wearer like TK or Marcus, or a short suit wearer like yours truly, Indochino will have you looking good. Here's how it works. Visit a showroom or shop online at Indochino.com. Pick your fabric, choose your customizations, submit your measurements, and in a couple of weeks, your custom suit will arrive. This week, TK's listeners can get any premium Indochino suit for just $359 at Indochino.com when you enter the code TK at checkout. That's 50% off the regular price for a made-to-measure premium suit. Plus, shipping is free. So, head to Indochino.com, enter promo code TK for any premium suit for just $359 and free shipping. It's an incredible deal for a suit that will fit you better than anything off the rack ever could. We're also going to pause for a word from our friends at LinkedIn. A business is only as strong as its people, and every hire matters, so don't settle for posting and hoping the right person will find your role and apply. Sometimes I hear TK and Marcus mutter that they settled for me, but you absolutely don't have to. LinkedIn is more than the world's largest professional network. It's also a better way to find great talent. 70% of the US workforce is already on LinkedIn, and businesses rate LinkedIn jobs 40% higher than job boards at delivering quality candidates. Just ask any of the hundreds of thousands of businesses who have posted to LinkedIn jobs over the past year. If you're not using LinkedIn for your hiring needs, you're missing out. So, go to linkedin.com/TK and get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/TK for $50 off. Terms and conditions apply. And now, back to the TK Show with special guest host, Marcus Thompson.
So, I feel like this is not a coincidence that your first year on the beat for the Athletic Bay Area, somehow the A's get good. So let's figure out who you are for the listeners of the TK Show to figure out what this mojo is you have. So I got a series of questions. I'm firing at you. We need to get to know who Julian Mac 105 is.
Okay.
All right, where you from?
New York City. Harlem, New York.
Who says that? Okay, you start with Harlem and New
Harlem.
York City. Come on. Where'd you go to college?
I first started at Ohio University, but graduated and finished up at Temple University, Philadelphia.
Why in the world do you cover baseball?
Because I played it, and I love it. I played a little bit, played in college, and then I played a little bit of professional independent ball. Grew up playing it. My dad played it. It's just kind of in my blood. I enjoy being around the game. I love asking questions around the game. I'm inquisitive. I want to learn as much as I can about the game. I love writing too. So that all into one is kind of why I do it, and I'm enjoying it. So I won't want to do anything else.
So you you writing about baseball because you were trash at baseball. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, yeah. I mean, relatively speaking, yeah. I mean, we're all trash at a point, right? Somebody's trash. Even these major leaguers will be trash at some point. So, yeah, I was just trash before them. So that's how it works.
Now, when did you know? At what point did you give up your big league dreams and become a reporter?
I mean, it's crazy. I think I wrote it in my athletic piece, but when I was joining the Athletic. But I remember I was in the middle of New Mexico. And I was basically, I was looking around, and I was in outfield, and I was playing professional. I was playing pro ball, but I was looking around. There was nothing around. I'm like, dude, I think I might be done with this.
Like,
and
you were in what were you in? Single A? What was it?
I was in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and playing independent ball.
Oh, so independent ball, got you.
Yeah, I was playing indie ball, and so I was looking around, and I was like, man, like, this isn't it. Like, this, I'm kind of over this. And so I was looking around, there was nothing around. I was in Las Vegas, New Mexico. I thought I was going to Las Vegas, Nevada when they sent me my contract, but it turned out it was Las Vegas, New Mexico, which is nothing like the Vegas that you're in right now. So I end up out there, and so I'm looking around like it's probably like we're like 20, 25 games in, and I'm like, man, this isn't it. I was like, I think I want to do this now. I think I want to go in another direction and do this journalism thing. And literally on the next play, ball was hit to me. Ball was slicing down the left field line, so I kind of had that tail to it as a left-handed batter. I dove for it, broke my finger, and I was like, yeah, this is a wrap. And they were like, yo, you can rehab your hand here. You can rehab here. And I'm like, nah, I'm not rehabbing in Las Vegas, New Mexico. I'm good. I'll go back to New York.
And that was it, huh?
That was it. That was all she wrote. And then I went to NABJ that summer with a broken hand, and I was like, hey, what's up? I'm trying to do this.
Now, what year was this? Did you break your hand and go to NABJ?
2014, summer 2014.
2014. So, who have you played with in your career? Because you've played with and against some pretty notable people. I should tell the story of how we were in. Where were we in Arizona? The Kansas City Royals spring training home, Somerset or something like that. And we were going to get something to eat, and some random dude just stopped you. And he was like, we used to play baseball together, like out of the blue.
Yeah.
So who have you played with? Who you apparently know a bunch of people in the baseball circle.
I mean, George Springer. We actually grew up playing against each other. Our dads are friends, and they still talk a lot to this day. They actually talk the minute since we graduated high school. My dad was always keeping tabs on George through his dad. They've always been real close because we were kind of like the only minorities in baseball. So that was kind of interesting. And then Joe Panic, we played together growing up since we were like 12. We played against each other. He played for, I think it was the some team called the Titans. I forget the name of it, but he's from Hopewell Junction section of Westchester. We played against each other. Eric Hosmer, Garrett Cole, Jason Hayward. I mean, the list goes. DJ LeMahieu, who's playing out here for the Colorado Rockies. I mean, we all played against each other. It's just if you're in that baseball circle, kind of trying to get exposed, you're gonna run into these guys and you're gonna play these guys. So those are the main ones. TJ Rivera, the Mets. He has Tommy John surgery right now, but he plays for the Mets. Dylan Betances is from New York City. We played against each other. So that's pretty much. It's a lot more than, but those are the ones off the top of my head that I can think of.
So you've been in clubhouses, you've been around baseball players all your life. Can you explain, like, who is Chris Davis? Because we don't even know. I need a baseball player's explanation. Like, sum up him, like, play amateur psychologist, FBI profiler, and explain to me who this guy is, because I just don't know.
Man, he's different. Like, I mean, if you ask him a terrible question, he's gonna give you a terrible answer. So just be prepared for that. I mean, I think he's just more of a. I think he's one of the most introspective people I think on a team. He just doesn't show it. Like I think he has the most perspective about things. He just doesn't. He doesn't care for you to know that. Like, he's just kind of in his own world. Like, he does his own thing. Like, you see him walk to the plate. Like, it looks like sometimes it looks like a little leaguer. Like, dude, like, are your parents making you play? Like, but that's just like his demeanor. I mean, that's just what works for him. And he's interesting. He's definitely different, but I mean, he's eclectic in his own sense. Like he loves music. He loves rap. All different sorts of music. So, I mean, he just beats to his own drum, and you kind of gotta respect him for that.
I mean, if he's gonna hit he's well over 100 homers in 3 years, right?
Yeah. I mean,
he'll take it.
He leads the majors in homers. He leads the majors in homers. I think it's like 115, 114 for over the past 3 years. So obviously he's doing something right, and obviously whatever he's doing works for him. I mean, he's just so mellow. So you never see him get mad either. Like, it looks like he's about to get mad or like something bothering him, but like he never really gets mad like that. So it's like
he's always in that "I wish you would" stage, huh?
Yeah, he's always in there. "I wish you would" stage. Exactly. That's exactly. He's always like, "All right, yeah, try me if you want." People are like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll go somewhere else. I'll ask somebody else a question. I don't need you today." So yeah.
So who in the locker room do you get along with? Who do you like interviewing? I keep saying locker room because I'm at Team USA and I'm on like a basketball kick right now. But I know it's Clubhouse.
Nah, I get you. Man, KD's over there on his rant, huh?
Right.
Marcus Simeon, Matt Olson. Matt Olson's good. I think I like Matt. Matt's cool, man. Like Matt's like that. He's from ATL. He's from Atlanta, so like he has that he just kind of has like this swag about him. He's just a cool interview.
ATL Shawty. Yeah, you and Pender are cool, right? You and Pender, he liked talking to you.
I like Pender a lot too. Yeah, I like Pender. He's a cool dude. He went to Virginia Tech, and he knows my cousin who's on a swim team there who played at Virginia Tech. So like that's kind of how we got to talking during spring training. Edwin Jackson's cool. Edwin Jackson has swag. His chain is huge. That Cuban link chain he wears. I think those are the main ones right there. And Jed too. If you want to talk like baseball, like remember how you saying like a lot of people play a sport but they don't actually know the sport.
Yeah, they just super talented and good at it. Yeah,
like they're super talented and know about. Yeah, that's how. But like Jed actually knows baseball. So it's like, yo, if you want to talk baseball, if you want to talk like sports, if you want, just baseball in general, like exit velocity and where players positioned and all this stuff, like he'll talk for days about you on that stuff because, he's kind of a nerd. He went to Stanford, so like he gives you the lowdown on everything. So those are kind of my favorite people to talk to. It's like if you're just kind of like shooting the stuff around, like I guess maybe Pender or Olsen, or something like that. But like if you really want to talk baseball, Jed's kind of the guy that you want to go to. And then if you want to talk like experience, like who'd you play against, like tell me some stories. Like Edwin Jackson has you covered on that.
So who from the A's, whether manager, coaches, players, who's been the toughest nut to crack? Who gives you the hardest time?
Gives me the hardest time?
Yeah.
Or like the toughest?
But like who's hard to get to? You've been trying for a while and it's gonna take some work to get to him.
No doubt, Chapman. Matt Chapman. He's always like, hey man, you got a second? He's like, nah, I gotta go work out. So like, hey, you got a second? Nah, I gotta go eat. So like a lot of times, like I come to find out, like he's probably the hardest worker on the team so like he's legitimately doing those things. So it's not like sometimes he might be curving you and be like, nah, I don't want to talk to you. But a lot of times he's legitimately doing those things. So it's kind of hard to decipher the two. But he's for sure the hardest person in the clubhouse to kind of get to, which is interesting too, because he's only in his first full year of the big leagues. But whatever. But so you kind of work around that and get him when you can. But he's a legitimate hard worker. But yeah, he'll curve you sometimes.
He seems like he's a little OCD too. Like,
yeah,
he'll be at his locker like tripping about whatever play from 5 innings ago that he didn't make. Like he seems like that type.
Yeah, it's like if he makes a bad play or something like that. Like he'll talk to you. Like if he makes a bad play or something like that. I remember the series, like when he does bad, like he'll talk. Like I remember the series against the Angels back early, and I think it was like in April, where he overthrew a ball and I think 2 runs scored. I feel like he was available for like the entire time. Like, he's like, yeah, you know, it's not bad, I messed up. But if it's like a play where he knew he should have got it, but nobody really noticed it, you know, like that, but nobody really knew he should have got it, but he knows he should have got it, you know, he'll be in his locker like, you know, just kind of like, man, like I know I should have got that ball, you know. So like, yeah, he is kind of like that series in with the Giants. Like there were a couple balls, you know, where he probably thought he could have got.
He was in his locker. He wasn't at his locker. He was like literally inside that thing.
in it.
I've never seen that before. Yeah, face in the locker. I was like, man, he having a rough time out here.
Yeah.
Well, they did lose the game, and obviously I got to ask you about your restaurant, but you know I can't let you get out of here without talking about your experience, like just as a beat writer with the Athletic, how you like it so far, just how it's about to crank up. When the A's win the World Series, you're about to become a star. So let's take a moment to talk about these early days. What's it been like being the A's beat writer for the Athletic?
It's been good. I mean, like the thing I like most is that sometimes you have the ability to be able to sit with your stories and like and just really think about what you want to write versus having to crank out that short piece that everybody has to write, that short pregame piece. So like that's kind of what I've enjoyed the most, the fact that I've had the ability to be able to flesh out my ideas, and then also that I have like a group of editors around me that, you know, really want you to do well and kind of guide you on things and different ways you can say things or different story ideas, different ideas I can go with. So like, you know, the best part for me, like I said, was just being able to, you know, really, really work on the story the way I want to. Yeah, we're still working on deadlines and all that stuff, but I don't have to say the deadline that, you know, a lot of other people have from other outlets and stuff like that. So you really have time to craft your piece and make it what you think it could be. And that's what I enjoy most about being here too.
All right, Julian, what's your favorite restaurant?
Man, you know I'm gonna go. You hate on New York.
Here we go.
You hate on New York pizza, but I am going to go with V&T Pizza. It's right above Morningside Park on 110th Street. And if anybody wants to find some good New York pizza, go to V&T Pizza because that's the spot to go to.
So you can't go anywhere to find great pizza in New York, or
you can.
So, but this is the spot right here. This is the spot. Your spot.
That's my spot. Yep, that's my spot.
I feel like this ain't my show. So, part of me is like I can't go here, but the other part is like sure I can. It's not my show. Like I feel like the listeners of the TK show should know that you're from New York, and they need to know your stance on pizza outside of New York. You know, you just gave this recommendation for pizza in New York, but how about you tell them that how you feel about pizza outside of New York, so they can know where you're coming from when you nominate this place you nominated.
Hey, look, man, I'm not trying to lose readers. So, I love Bay Area pizza.
He is lying. He is lying. He is lying.
I love LA pizza.
This is how they do it in Harlem.
Yeah,
they front.
You know they always front and gas stuff up. So
I'm gonna tell them the truth.
We're known for that.
Julian is a New Yorker who believes anything that's not New York is holistically inferior, especially pizza. So he can't even eat pizza that's not from New York.
That's not true. I eat Domino's out here all the time.
You eat Domino's? We went to a pizza restaurant. You complained the whole time because it wasn't New York pizza, but you could go to Domino's.
That's because Domino's doesn't try to beat pizza. Like, it's just Domino's.
That's
people be really trying to beat pizza out here. Like,
this is unbelievable. That's Julian McWilliams, the Oakland A's beat writer, the super diehard New Yorker who believes everything in New York is better, but somehow he lives in the Bay Area. I don't know how to explain it. Again, this isn't my show. I'm filling in for TK. Thanks for coming on, Julian, and I'll see you. Oh, wait a second. You'll be going to New York for the wild card game, right? Yo.
If it holds up that way, it looks like it.
Yeah, you can. You're gonna be able to handle that. So when we go to the wild card game in New York, you could take me to VNTs. How about that?
I got you.
Legit.
I got you. And you'll get all the deals.
All the deals. All right. Thanks a lot, Julian. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.